Well, hello, and welcome to my Cyanotyping. If you haven't been here before, my name is Jane, and I am a Scottish textile artist. I run a business called the Snapdragon Life and an online membership club called the Studio Club. And this week it is quite early on Wednesday morning, and I am just back from a long weekend in Wales where I was at a wonderful mini kind of festival. And I am just about today to head off to Edinburgh to take my mum to a jukebox musical, which is all about Dolly Parton. So I was sitting last night with my notepad and I was writing down kind of to-do lists for the week, for the tiny bit of the week that is left as my working week. And I was really racking my brains about what I would be able to film for YouTube in time. Because normally I film on a Wednesday. Obviously I'm over in Edinburgh today. I can't exactly film the stage. And then I would edit on a Thursday. And it then occurred to me that I would be able to share one of the videos that I made for the last Studio Club course. So the Studio Club is an online course, as I said, and we do is it concentrates on creativity and nature. So there's always a course running which is some kind of connection between creativity and natural world. And over the last 2 months, we have been doing cyanotyping, which is that beautiful sun prints where you make a very basic photographic solution that is developed by UV light, hopefully by the sun. And we've been using plant materials or just the sunshine and manipulated fabrics to create amazing things. And then at the end, I had this amazing idea that it would be wonderful to try cyanotyping some stones that were left over from a building project here. And I gave it a go, and I just think they're gorgeous. Beautiful, beautiful. So immediately after this intro, it will go into the little film that I made as a how-to with this. So I should probably say a couple of things. First of all, this is the film that you're going to see is kind of like right at the end of the course. So it was a 7-8 week course and did lots of experiments, and this was the very end one. So it doesn't go in a lot into the history or the science or how you make up your solution and that kind of thing. But their cyanotype solutions are really, really simple. It's just you're mixing two chemicals. We've got a plane going overhead. You're mixing two solutions, and when they're mixed together, they become sensitive to sunlight. So you do that all in a dark place. You dry it off. You then put your leaves on, a bit like stencils, and put it outside for. It really depends on how bright your sunshine is. So in Scotland, this one took about 15 minutes to do. Other parts of the world that have really good sunshine take about 3, I think. So the film that you're going to see is kind of assuming some knowledge, but hopefully, as that knowledge is very widely available, you will be able to follow it and take inspiration. But what I decided to do is that YouTube videos, and it's one of the things that I really love about them, they have a long life. They stay up there. They are searchable. People can discover my channel and then go back and see previous things. So it's very, very different from any other social medium. So what I've decided to do is that if you decided to join the Studio Club from this particular video, if you message me once you've joined and say that it was from the Cyanotype video, could I send you the course? I will send you a PDF which has all of the videos, all of the downloads, all of the links, all of the images. Because otherwise it's gone. And the Studio Club is £9.95 a month, and there are also supported places for people for whom that's a bit of a stretch, because I feel that this access to creativity and to nature and to being encouraged to put time aside for that is so important that it should be available to everyone. So I'm very, very pleased with my things. Look, they go with my outfit. One more thing before we go on to the actual film. People always ask me about the mugs that I have here, and I really love pottery mugs. So this pottery mug is by my good friend Vanessa Simpson, and it was actually a gift at the weekend, and it is just lovely because it's the right kind of size and chunkiness. It's got this beautiful textured line. So I will put Vanessa's details underneath here if you want to go and check her out. She's been doing pottery for quite a while, and developing her skills, and she's very interested in different techniques and so on. But she's right at the beginning of the journey into selling her pottery. So I'll put all of the details of her Instagram down here, and go and give her a follow. I'm also trying to persuade her to come onto YouTube, but we'll see. And if she does, I will definitely be linking to her here. So now for the video, how to cyanotype stones. This experiment, I think, comes under the what else can I cyanotype category. At the moment, we are building an outdoor kitchen up at the house, and we have used these beautiful stones to fill part of the kind of the structure. And there were about 20 left over. So I looked at them and I thought, I wonder if I can cyanotype those. And it turns out, yes, I can. Now, I have seen cyanotyped stones on Pinterest, and the difference between the ones that I'm doing here and the ones that tend to be on Pinterest is that the Pinterest ones have kind of like much whiter designs. And the way to do that, if that's what you're wanting, is to paint the top of your stone with probably some kind of acrylic paint, then sand it, then paint it, then sand it, until you have a really smooth, bright white surface, and then put the cyanotype on top of that, and that will give you a much more conventional cyanotype look. But what I was looking for was something that's a bit more like a shadow, a bit more like the memory of a leaf on a stone, much more subtle. So I didn't want to use any kind of primer, I just wanted to use the stone. So that is what I'm going to show you here. First, what do you need? You need your stone. It has to be an absorbent stone, so it can't be something like graphite, which wouldn't take in the cyanotype solution at all. You also will need some leaves. Now, I suggest that you use kind of very well-defined plant material. So these are Herb Robert leaves, and they're a really good shape, and they're also nice and small, which will make it easy for me to put them onto the stone. You'll need some cling film, which I think is called Saran wrap in the States. Doesn't need to be new. You know, you can take it, a bit has been saved from the kitchen, And this can be reused on a number of stones. So, you know, take care of it and reuse it and reuse it. You need your cyanotype solution, which I have in here. And you need something to rinse it all off when we've finished. So the first step is just painting the stones. Now, I have light coming in here because I wanted to be able to film nicely, but normally I would have blocked off that window. So I'm going to do this really quickly, and then I'm going to push it into a dark room. I'm using the studio bathroom, and allow it to dry. So first step, paint the stone. Just nice broad things, and you're wanting it to go probably over the lip of the stone because this is going to be the bit that turns blue. Right, so there we are, and now I am going to rush off and put it in the dark. While that is in my loo drying, I'll go over some of the kind of tips and the way that it works and that kind of thing, because when I bring it out and I'm putting it all together, I'll be doing it quite quickly. So first of all, your stone, you want something that's smooth and that water will go into, because cyanotype is a water-based medium. So you need something that is absorbent and that is going to be a light colour. The way that cyanotype works is you put on your liquid here, you let it dry, obviously, and then you're putting plants on the top and holding them very tightly. So I'm going to clip that one off as an example. So I'll be putting the leaf on here, and then I'll be taking the cling film, which the UV, the sunlight, can get through, and I'm going to be very smoothly just wrapping it around, and you can see that that is holding the leaf very tight to the surface of the stone. I tried with glue, tried with spray mount, I tried all kinds of different ways of keeping the leaf on the stone, but nothing has worked nearly as well as this plastic wrap. So it's plastic, but as I say, see if you can get some that you can reuse. So this holds the leaf onto the treated stone. You're going to have to pretend this is a treated stone. And the UV comes down and it hits all of the bit around the leaf, but because the leaf is there, it's acting like a kind of like a bikini strap, really. It's holding the UV away from the liquid that is underneath here. So once it's been out in the sun for enough time, I will get it back in here and I will rinse it off in here. And what happens is that I'm rinsing off all of the photographic medium that is underneath this leaf, so that it will never ever turn blue. So it's really, you're using it like a bit of a stencil. So all of the outside turns blue, but the leaf remains the same. Other things to think about are, what kind of colour are you wanting your stone to be? Are you wanting it to be really definite like this, the big contrast between the white bits and the dark blue? Or do you want it something that's more like a suggestion of a leaf, something that you'll just see sometimes, but other times it will just look like a blue stone? In which case, you don't leave it out in the sun quite as long. This is a slightly underexposed. I love this effect. I love the way that you can only see the leaves sometimes. Some lights, they're really, really definite. And in other ones, you can just see a slight mottling. So I really love this, but it is technically a little bit underexposed. And I'll show you, I'll leave the one that we're doing out for a lot longer, and you can then see the difference. So now I think it is time to go and get the one that I have left to dry. Right, I'm holding it out of the light as I come round here, pop it on there. My leaves. Put them on with the plastic. And I'm just wanting this one to creep around the side there. So I'll put it down there and then carefully wrap the plastic round. Once you've got the plastic round, you do have then a little bit of time because your leaves will be all in place. So it's at that point that you can stop brushing. Just poke that one under there and doing that. And obviously, if you are doing this somewhere where there is no sunlight, which would be the sensible thing to do, you can take a little bit more time. So you can see that is my fully wrapped rock. And I'm going to go and put that outside for 20 minutes. It's not very sunny here today. It's there's sun above clouds, but it's Scotland, so that's the best I can do. Something like this, because it's so close to the stone, the exposure doesn't matter quite so much. So it will be fine with 20 minutes. Nothing's going to move here in 20 minutes. Right, I will show you it in a bit. This is my stone in from the sunshine. And as soon as I take off this plastic and these leaves, I need to be very quick and put it into the water. But I'm hoping that you can see, just as I do it, what it looks like, because it's nothing like it's going to look like eventually. And it's often really disappointing when you unwrap these and there seems to be so little on them. Right, so here we go, stone and into the water. And I'm just going to rub my fingers very gently over the stone to remove the photosynthesized liquid from it, the bit that has been hidden by those leaves. And as I do that, I can see the pattern beginning to emerge. This is a stone in the water. You can see those beautiful leafy shapes just beginning to emerge. This is the stone out of the water. All of this bit has been rinsed off. You can see it's still wet. And what I need to do now is to put it somewhere to dry off. Ideally somewhere where it's light but there isn't direct sunlight, and that will also oxidize that blue and develop the blue, so the blue will become darker. And I'm hoping that those leaves will become even more pronounced. I need to leave it for at least 24 hours before I begin to see how that pattern is going to develop. Hey, it's quite, that's a tough thing to do. You need patience. But often when you have a cyanotype, you take it out and you think, oh, that's a bit of a disappointment. But then 24 hours later, it's suddenly, almost magically, come to life because it has continued to develop over that 24 hours. So I will show you this when it is dry. This is the finished stone. It will probably continue to get a little bit darker over the next few days, but you can see the beautiful edges to those stems and quite how detailed to pick up the stem. Such a nice kind of thing. Now, some people wax their cyanotypes. I'm going to see how these ones work, just leaving them like this in their very rugged state. and see whether that kind of holds up. Certainly think it will hold up to being indoors. Bring that in so you can see quite how beautiful it is.